beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. Today I want to talk to you. First of all, happy 1st of December. How did we get here already? It's going so fast this year. And today I want to talk to you about your gifts, about being afraid of your gifts, about showing up fully in your gifts, all of that stuff. I spoke briefly about this on my Facebook group today, which, by the way, if you're not part of that, it's healingthroughyou.com. Actually, just Healing Through You. And it's all about showing up fully in all of the gifts that you are already aware that you have. And also, if you're not aware, or if you're seeing things, hearing things, feeling things, to step into acknowledging these gifts. And so first, I'm going to talk to those of you who are already aware of your gifts, who are using your gifts, maybe have been using them for years, and some of you might have been using them for just a couple of months or weeks or whatever it is. You are all being called to use your gifts with full power. It includes me, by the way, so I'm not excluded in this. This is a message that came through really strongly. So for those of us who are already using our gifts, who are already aware and leaning into and acknowledging what we know and have, they're asking us to go the next level, the next step, because we have so much more within us that we still haven't tapped into. So if you have been using your gifts for, let's say, a long time, and you are an established healer, you're being asked to step it up. You're being asked to go the next level and allow yourself to expand to the levels that you may not have been aware that you even could do. And so this came really strongly. Actually, I was listening to a podcast, and I was listening to this psychic person who had been doing, his work for a long time, and then a circumstance came through, and he was very careful about giving specific types of information about medical stuff, and he was just called to do this and to step into that. He got permission from the person to do this, and he began to just give the information that he was, quote unquote, withholding. He was withholding this information because of fear of being sued, fear of being wrong, actually. And then what happens if the person, gets even worse or dies or whatever. And so he stepped into himself because he had permission from the person to give the message, and he just flew by. All of these messages came through. He was obviously right. It saved the person's life. And he realized that he was so much more powerful or so much better than he had thought he was, or that he had believed that he was, or that he had been using his gifts up to a certain point. And so if this is you, and it's so, I just love divine timing is what I'm trying to say, because this message of talking about this came through yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to record yesterday, so I decided to record today. And I had been listening to this podcast that I talked to you about, and again, I hadn't had a chance to finish it. It wasn't that long, but I just didn't have a chance to. And so this morning, I listened to the last part of it, and it was in the last part of this podcast that this psychic was talking about this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm talking about today. This is exactly like, divine messages arrive exactly at the time that they need to be. I didn't get to listen to this part of the podcast that had this specific message that I was going to be talking about today with you, which also I did not realize I was going to be talking about it with you. I just made the connection, like, wow, it's the same subject, it's the same thing. And so this is really being put upon all of you who are already using your gifts, stepping up into really trusting and believing and go the next level. Because if you're helping people now, and all of this time that you have been helping them, when you step into your truth fully and allow yourself to expand fully, you can help so much more. So in the case of this psychic person, because of the information that he delivered, the scientist that he was delivering the message to was actually able, with a whole entire team of other medical people, create the cure for a specific superbug. And this happened because the psychic medium allowed himself to just be all of him and deliver the message that he was scared to deliver. So imagine that, right? Withholding that information would not have only allowed the sick person that they were talking about to pass, but now because he didn't, not only did that person get better, but he got better with a cure that was found that can also be used with anyone and everyone else in the world who might need this. Take a moment and think about that. Take a moment and just feel the grandness of this message, right? And so for all of you who are healers, psychics, mediums, whatever it is that your specialty is and have been doing this for a while, you're really being called to step it up and to allow yourself to flow with whatever is coming through without questioning it and without fear of I might be wrong, and then, right? Because that's the human fear. If I'm wrong, then I'm going to be discredited, I can get sued, all of these things, right? And but what they're really asking you to do is to trust, just like all of the other messages, all of the other things that have come through for you before, and they were all right and on target. Whatever you've been holding back on, when you allow that to flow through, it's also going to be right and on target. So just trust. That is the message for you. And now going and moving on to those of you who have not yet stepped into your power. Those of you who are in the background thinking or feeling that there's only certain people who have special gifts and that's not you, or that you are feeling, thinking, seeing things, but you're either scared of them or you are just saying that to yourself that they're not actually happening, that you're making it up, that it's all in your head. So now I'm talking to you. If you're feeling things, hearing things, knowing things, right? And you're not explaining it why, and you're like just laughing about it and going about your day. Let me tell you guys, that was me. That was me several years back, for many, many years, where I would do things and connect with my higher self. I even would help people heal, like from headaches, guys. And like some 20 years ago, or maybe 15, I don't know. People would call me up and say, hey, can you help me with this headache? And I would be like, yeah, sure. And I would like put my hand on my head while they were like in a different state. And I would begin to feel their headache on my body, and they would begin to feel their headache go away. And then I would just send that pain, that headache away from my body. I would just transmute it. I have no idea where or when, but I would get it out of my body and the person would be quote unquote healed. And I used to do this, and I used to just laugh about it, not think about it twice. It was just like breathing or getting an ice cream. It was just like everyday stuff. I never paid any attention or ever thought of myself as being special or having gifts or anything like that. I just did it. So if you're like that, if miracles are happening around you because you're creating them, if you're seeing things or feeling them and you are just going about your ways, it is time to step up to your plate and begin to acknowledge them and use them on purpose or purposely. Okay, so you are being called to step up, to begin to be like, okay, I'm doing this. This is not really normal in the terms that we have been taught, the society of things that people in society can do, and therefore I should look more into this, or I should acknowledge it, or I should do this more on purpose. So yes, that is what you're being asked to do. And now the third group. This is the group that is also feeling, seeing things, but is afraid of their gifts because their gifts are either showing them things that are scary, such as perhaps you're seeing figures or shadows or things, or feeling things and it scares you. It's like a ghost, like the bad ghost. And the reason it's scaring you is because of what the media has taught you that entities are, right? And if you're connecting with someone from the other side, that's scary because of all the haunted stories of haunted homes and spirits and all of this stuff, and you have that connotation towards other realms, and therefore you get scared. That's all made up. It's all Hollywood. Second thing, okay, not all of it, but I explain a little bit. The second thing is it could be that you have beliefs that have been imposed upon you as a child, as you were growing up, by your family, your neighbors, and maybe your school. Maybe it's also some type of religious group that you grew up in and were immersed in that tells you that these things are bad or evil. I'm going to tell you a short little story about here. My very last year that I taught in person at a public school, it was a school where a lot of kids had a lot of personal problems, and I decided with my 8th graders to teach them how to meditate. And I would, like, at the last 10 minutes of class, I would just put the meditative music and allow them to just be, to just relax and listen and become calm. And I thought I was doing like a really great thing, which, I'm pretty sure I did. And especially since after that COVID started and everybody was home, and I was thinking, wow, what an amazing gift I just gave these kids, because now those who really took into that have a way of escaping or dealing with what's happening here. But that's another thing. I had this one child who said, my mother says that it's evil to meditate. I had never even thought about this possibility because that was not in my awareness at all. So I was not aware that there were certain religions that thought or that believed that meditation is a bad thing, like an evil part, right? It's kind of like connecting with the evil spirits or something, or the Ouija board, or like in that way. So I had no idea about this, but this child told me this, and then I became aware of it, and I was like, oh wow, like I had no idea about that, anyway, if you grew up with these beliefs, then if you are seeing or feeling things, of course you're going to be scared of them, because your belief is that these things are bad, and if you're connecting with them, there must be something wrong with you. So here is the part where we clean this up. There are no evil spirits, number one. The ones that seem scary are just trapped spirits that feel unworthy on the other side because of whatever actions they took on earth, and they don't want to go on to the light. They want to remain where they are because they feel that the light is too good for them, and they feel really bad and guilty about their actions of what they created here on earth, and therefore they're trapped in the middle. And when they're trapped in the middle, they tend to behave the ways that they behaved while they were here on earth, or maybe even worse, especially if they're angry. And so this is why those spirits or entities seem scary, because they're not being very nice. However, every single entity can be sent to the light. And how do you send them to the light? You allow them to see and remember who they truly are, not the person, but their divine being of light that they are, infinite being of light, just like you, just like me. And once you cross over to the light, then you remember who you are. You can see everything in all love, and you are able to see pretty much like the meaning of everything that we cannot understand here on earth. And so going to that light allows the spirit or the entity to cross over fully and no longer be trapped in between worlds. And the way to do that is to see them with love and send them love. Love is the highest frequency, and nothing can stop it or work against it. So when you have pure love, any entity, as scary as it might seem, will be touched by the light and cross over. And if for some reason it is way too dark and does not want to cross over, because like I said before, it might feel it's not worthy of it, it will stop coming to you. It will no longer show up for you, because you are shining the light. And so they will go on and show themselves to other people who are vibrating at lower frequencies and lower energies. That would be the people who are depressed, sad, angry. Okay? So while you are shining your light and you're vibrating at a high frequency, becoming the light, you actually can help any dark entity that may show up for you for whatever reason. And the reason is probably because they know you're around and that you can see them or receive them or perceive them. You can help them cross over. And it's no longer scary when you are armed with the knowledge of what they actually are. I'll give you an example. I had a client who had always been scared of her bedroom. The bedroom was full of monsters or entities. And we worked on this, and we went into her room together, and not even physically, this is like through Zoom, right? We went into the room together, and she had this one negative energy show up. Sorry, that's my dog shaking. Show up, and it was scary. And I guided her to ask this entity what it was it needed. The entity was quite angry, and then to give that entity love. And she did that. She followed the instructions. And what instructions are these? These are just things that came to me, right? Like this is what came to me for her to say, and I just relayed the message, and she did it. And as soon as she started giving this entity love, it turned from this dark, scary energy into a young man who was scared and crying and melting to her words, and became like a real human vision, not the scary shadow that it was portraying itself. And then she was able to cross him over. And then she was able to go ahead and clear her entire room that was full of entities like this. She was able to do this work on her own and clear it because of the power of love, plus the power of knowing what to do. So if you are in one of these areas where you're seeing things or feeling things, and you're feeling that there's something wrong with you, you're going crazy, or you're tapping into things that you shouldn't, and it's evil, and it's against the laws of God or the Creator or all of these things, it's not. This is part of you. It's part of who you are. It's part of the Creator. The Creator created you in the way that you are, and your gifts are coming up and opening up for you. That means showing themselves up for you, where you're able to see and perceive things that are not of this three-dimensional world for a reason. And the reason is that you are ready to accept them. And why would you want to accept them? So that you can help, right? So here comes the big part of your purpose here on earth, is to help ascend and raise the frequency of the earth. And raising the frequency of the earth also includes raising the frequency of those souls that may be trapped in between worlds. Did you see that? Okay, so anyway, if this is you and you have been wondering or even knowing like, yeah, that's me, but you're not leaning more into it, you're just allowing it to be as it is, like I did some 20 years ago, you are being called right now to do more, to really step into it, to open up the communications, to feel into it, to acknowledge it, because the more that you open up your own path, your own connection of communications with whatever gift is showing up for you, the higher your frequency will be. And the higher your frequency is, the higher the frequency of everyone around you will become. Everyone who lives with you, everyone that you touch, everyone who knows, the people that you know, their frequency will rise, and so therefore you're going to be healthy and raise the frequency of the earth. And why is this important? Because as you continue to see bad things happening on earth, of the darker energies that do not want to go to the light, more and more light is needed to counteract that, to stop that from happening, right? And so the more that you lean into your own knowing and your own gifts, and you acknowledge that, and you begin to have that conversation with your own higher self, the more that you are going to allow and help the earth rise. And this was shown to me last night, actually, when I was with a different client, actually, I was shown that we are all of our light workers are connected, and we're connected with this grid, right? It's like the crystalline grid of the earth, of the world. It's an invisible grid, and each time a light worker lights their light, meaning they do their work, they go within. You don't actually have to be physically or actively sharing your gifts with others as I'm doing. You can just do the work on your own, where you are acknowledging yourself, going within, and tuning into what's true for you. Each time that you do that, your light lights up. So imagine that you have this beautiful cylinder inside your heart or your chest cavity that lights up. And that's your connection to the crystalline grid. And as soon as you do that, you get connected to the crystalline grid. And then you get connected to other light workers who are doing the same. And as you're all connecting, it's kind of like holding hands, right? Making like holding hands across the world. You are creating a stronger bond of this crystalline grid, and it's becoming stronger and stronger, brighter and brighter, and allowing more and more people to reach up and connect. Isn't that amazing? I just channeled this right now, guys. It's amazing. I'm so excited about this. So yeah, so this is why you're being asked to step it up. This is why everyone, all of us, are being asked to step up and to trust more. Get the information and the help that you need, or that you believe will help you get to the next level, if that is something that is calling your name. You do not need to, but like, this is what it looks like when you get help. It looks like books that are coming into your awareness and sparkling your interest. It looks like podcasts that are speaking about things that you are learning, and it's expanding your vision, your entire field. It looks like videos of people talking and teaching about different things. It looks like songs that are inspiring and also allow you to open up and dream the things that are not of your actual physical world right now, right? It also looks like mentors and people who can actually help you and teach you. But that's a different level. There's so many different ways that you can lean into. It could be friends. It could be Facebook groups where people are all beginning to come out and share their experiences, right? So, and that gives me an idea. Thank you so much for that. So these are all the different things that you can lean into for support, to expand yourself. Talk more about what's happening. Talk more about your experiences, because the more you talk about it, the more you share, the more that you make it, quote unquote, normal, and more people feel compelled or attracted to share their experiences to you, because that's the way it is, right? You need one brave person around your area that talks about it for others to be able to be attracted to you, like the honeybees, and then tell you their experiences as well. But if there's no one there, then everybody is just in that spiritual closet, hiding and believing there's something wrong with them, and trying to figure out how to shut off the connection, which, let me tell you something, it's not going to happen. If you are an adult already and you are feeling all of the feels, and you're starting to see things or feel them or perceive them, you cannot shut it down. It's just going to be there, because your guides are telling you it's time for you to step it up. It's different than when you were a child. You were born with all of this. You were already perceptive and everything, and then the adults around you told you it wasn't true, and then you decided not to do it, right? And like to not believe in it, and then you just suppressed it, right? And that happens to so many of us. But now that you're an adult and it's coming back, now it's like, okay, now you're just too aware and too awake for it to go away. So it's not going to go away, guys. So you might as well lean into it and enjoy the benefits of being connected, of being amplified, of being expanded in a way that you didn't think was available to you. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope that this was really, really interesting to you. It was for me. I know it was. Reach out if you need help. let me know if you really what you got from this, and like the podcast and follow me and share so more people can reach out and receive the messages. With that, I send you so much love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.